The YNW Melly trial has just taken a shocking and unexpected turn, leaving fans completely speechless. What was once believed to be a straightforward case of self-defense is now being questioned in ways nobody saw coming. Emotions ran high in the courtroom today as explosive new evidence surfaced, revealing that the wound on the victim's body, long assumed to be defensive, might tell a story far more sinister. The family was left divided, with some members whispering that this revelation could change everything, while others swore to fight for justice, no matter the cost. Social media erupted instantly, fans speculating, theorizing, and debating every detail. Friends and insiders of Melly spoke out, but their statements only added fuel to the fire. Heated arguments between supporters and critics dominated timelines, and it felt like tension was boiling over everywhere. Courtroom observers claimed that the atmosphere was almost unbearable, as whispers of betrayal, hidden agendas, and shocking secrets circulated like wildfire. You won't believe what the latest testimonies revealed. Multiple twists are unfolding, and the narrative everyone thought they understood is rapidly shifting. Stay tuned, because the story of YNW Melly's trial is far from over, and the next revelation could absolutely shock the world. The courtroom was tense from the very moment the doors opened, the air thick with anticipation and suspicion. Fans had been speculating online for weeks about what new evidence might emerge in YNW Melly's trial, and today, that speculation turned into pure chaos. Whispers ran through the audience, and cameras flashed endlessly as attorneys took their positions. Melly sat at the defendant's table, his eyes darting nervously between the prosecution and defense, but there was an unusual calm about him that made some observers uneasy. The prosecution wasted no time, presenting their first bombshell of the day. The wound on the victim's body was never defensive, the lead attorney declared, slamming a piece of evidence on the table for dramatic effect. The courtroom gasped in unison. Gasps turned to murmurs as they pored over the forensic images that had just been displayed on the large screens. The wound, previously assumed to be a reflexive act of defense, now appeared inconsistent with that narrative. This changes everything, one journalist whispered to a colleague, shaking their head in disbelief. Friends and family of Melly were visibly shaken. His mother, sitting in the front row, had her hand pressed to her mouth, eyes wide as if the news had physically hit her. His longtime friend, who had flown in from Florida, whispered urgently, "This could ruin him if people start believing it." Tensions ran so high that the bailiffs had to step in to calm a shouting match between two fans who were arguing over social media theories. "I told you this wasn't self-defense," one yelled. "You're blind if you think that," the other shot back, their voices echoing off the courtroom walls. Outside, the scene was just as chaotic. A crowd had gathered outside the courthouse, phones in hand, recording every moment and posting live updates. Hashtags like #MellyTrialTwist and #NotDefensive were trending worldwide within minutes. Fans were split into camps, some defending Melly passionately, claiming that he had been framed, while others saw the new evidence as the smoking gun that could finally bring justice to the victim. "It's unreal," one fan said to a local reporter, tears streaming down her face. "We thought we knew the truth, but now, everything is upside down." Inside, the tension between the prosecution and defense escalated quickly. The defense attorney, a sharp-tongued veteran known for never backing down, leaned over to Melly and whispered, "Don't worry, we'll handle this. Just stay calm." But even he seemed rattled as he reviewed the new evidence. He knew that public opinion was already swaying against Melly, and a single misstep could cost him everything. The courtroom drama was amplified by the reporters, who were scribbling notes frantically, live tweeting, and speculating on the potential outcomes. Then came the shocking testimonies from eyewitnesses. A neighbor, who had previously given a statement supporting Melly, stepped back into the spotlight. I didn't see it the way they said," he stammered, eyes darting nervously. I think it was more intentional than I realized." Murmurs ran through the courtroom. Even the judge paused, leaning forward slightly, signaling that this testimony could not be ignored. The prosecution seized the moment, hammering home the idea that the wound was part of a larger, more calculated scenario. Emotions ran high as family members were called to testify. Melly's cousin, normally composed and reserved, broke down on the stand. "I don't know who to believe anymore," she said, her voice trembling. "I've known him my whole life, but now I'm scared. If he did this, how could he?" The courtroom was silent except for her sobs, the tension so thick you could cut it with a knife. Fans watching from home on live streams commented in real time, expressing disbelief and horror. Many said they felt like they were witnessing a real-life soap opera unfold. The prosecution wasn't finished. They presented forensic experts who went into painstaking detail about the angle, depth, and nature of the wound. "This wound is inconsistent with defensive actions," one expert explained, pointing to a chart that showed trajectory and force. "It aligns more closely with an offensive, calculated strike." Gasps echoed once again, and Melly shifted uncomfortably in his seat. Some attendees exchanged worried glances, whispering to each other that this could be the turn that finally tips the scales. Meanwhile, Melly's legal team tried to counter with character witnesses. A childhood friend took the stand, tears welling in his eyes. "I've known Melly since we were kids," he said. "He's never been violent like that. He's misunderstood. Please, don't judge him by what you see in headlines." But even his words seemed to falter under the weight of the new forensic revelations. The judge's expression remained neutral, but observers noted the slight narrowing of her eyes as she reviewed the evidence. Back outside, social media exploded further. Video clips from inside the courtroom, combined with snippets of interviews and fan reactions, went viral within minutes. One particularly dramatic clip showed Melly whispering something to his attorney, his lips moving quickly while the courtroom waited in suspense. Fans speculated endlessly about what he might have said. Was it a confession? A strategy? Or a desperate plea for help? Theories ranged from him planning a surprise testimony to admitting guilt under pressure. Every angle was dissected, and every possibility trended. The trial also revealed personal conflicts that had been simmering beneath the surface for months. One former associate of Melly's testified that there had been ongoing disputes within their circle, hinting at jealousy and betrayal. "People weren't always honest with each other," he said. "There were secrets, fights, things Melly didn't tell anyone. And now, those secrets are coming out." The courtroom audience murmured in shock, realizing that the drama extended far beyond the courtroom walls. Family and friends exchanged tense looks, wondering if these revelations might tear them apart forever. As the day wore on, the energy in the courtroom became almost unbearable. Every statement, every piece of evidence, and every testimony seemed designed to heighten tension. The prosecution and defense clashed repeatedly, each side digging in, determined to sway the jury and public opinion. Melly remained composed outwardly, but his eyes betrayed a mixture of fear, frustration, and anticipation. Fans watching from home commented that the trial felt more like a reality TV show than a legal proceeding, complete with unexpected twists and shocking revelations. Then came a jaw-dropping twist. A surveillance video emerged that had never been disclosed before. The footage was grainy, but it appeared to show moments leading up to the incident, contradicting some of the initial reports. "This changes the timeline entirely," an expert witness stated, pointing to the video frame by frame. Gasps and whispers filled the courtroom once more. The family was visibly shaken, and Melly's defense attorney leaned forward, eyes wide. Everyone knew that this footage could make or break the case. Even the judge seemed momentarily unsettled, reviewing the footage intently while the courtroom waited. The prosecution argued that the video supported their claim that the wound was not defensive, but the defense countered, insisting that the footage was misleading without context. Tensions between the two sides escalated into heated exchanges, with both lawyers raising their voices, pointing fingers, and demanding clarification. The emotional stakes were through the roof. Outside, the scene remained just as chaotic, with fans expressing outrage, disbelief, and loyalty all at once. Social media debates became heated, with people accusing each other of being biased or uninformed. Some fans claimed that the trial had already been decided in the court of public opinion, while others insisted that Melly was innocent and that the media was twisting the narrative. News outlets picked up clips and sound bites, amplifying the drama further, making it impossible for anyone to ignore the unfolding spectacle. By the end of the day, the courtroom was exhausted but still buzzing with tension. Every new piece of evidence, every testimony, and every reaction had built a storm of uncertainty around YNW Melly. One thing was clear: this trial was far from over, and what had been presented today would ripple through the rest of the proceedings, affecting family, friends, fans, and the public at large. As the judge adjourned for the day, the murmurs and whispers didn't stop. Everyone left wondering what explosive revelation would come next, and whether the truth about the wound and the incident itself would ever be fully known. The next day in court, the tension felt almost unbearable. Reporters, fans, and family members packed the room, waiting for what many were calling the testimony that could change everything. Melly arrived quietly, flanked by his attorneys, his expression unreadable. Cameras flashed relentlessly, and the whispers from the audience seemed to multiply by the second. Social media had already exploded overnight with theories about the surveillance video, with hashtags like #MellyTrialShock and #TheTruthExposed trending worldwide. Fans were divided, emotions running high, as everyone tried to predict the next bombshell. The prosecution wasted no time. They called a forensic analyst who had examined the wound extensively. "Ladies and gentlemen," the analyst began, voice steady but commanding. "The trajectory, depth, and angle of this wound are inconsistent with defensive actions. The evidence suggests a deliberate strike rather than a reflexive move." Gasps filled the room. Melly's mother gripped the armrest of her chair, her knuckles white. Some family members whispered urgently to each other, trying to process what they were hearing. "This can't be true," one relative muttered, shaking her head. "It has to be a mistake." Then came a dramatic twist that nobody expected. The prosecution introduced an anonymous tip that claimed someone close to Melly had warned the victim days before the incident. The courtroom erupted in whispers. I don't know if I should speak," the tipster said, voice trembling. The defense attorney jumped to his feet. "Objection. This is hearsay." The judge banged her gavel, demanding calm. But the whispers and murmurs had already reached a fever pitch, and fans online were already dissecting every word in real time. A close friend of Melly was called next. She had been silent for weeks, staying out of the spotlight, but today she chose to speak. "I've known him since we were kids," she said, her voice shaking. "But I can't ignore what I saw. Things were complicated. Emotions ran high. And sometimes, people don't act the way you expect." Her words were carefully measured but carried a weight that made the courtroom pause. Murmurs spread, with some people nodding and others shaking their heads in disbelief. Fans watching online were frantically debating whether she was hinting at a betrayal, a hidden motive, or something else entirely. Then, in a moment that seemed pulled straight from a reality TV show, a family member unexpectedly walked into the courtroom. The relative had previously refused to testify, but now claimed to have new information about the day of the incident. I saw someone leaving the scene earlier than we thought," they admitted, voice barely above a whisper. "I can't say more, not yet." The prosecution leaned forward eagerly, sensing an opening, while the defense attorney's jaw tightened. The family was visibly divided. Some whispered in support of the relative, while others glared at them, accusing them of betrayal. The drama was palpable, with every spectator feeling like they were witnessing history. Outside, social media exploded again. Clips of the relative walking into the courtroom, combined with snippets of the friend's testimony, went viral within minutes. Fans posted side-by-side comparisons of videos, screenshots of the testimonies, and theories about what the revelations could mean. Comments ranged from shock to outrage to disbelief. Some declared that Melly's innocence was now in serious jeopardy, while others insisted that this was just another manipulation by the media to create chaos. "It's like watching a thriller unfold in real time," one fan tweeted. Back inside, the prosecution shifted gears. They brought in a new expert, a specialist in criminal behavior, who had studied the dynamics between Melly and the victim. "We've examined texts, social media posts, and private messages," the expert explained, scrolling through evidence projected on the screen. There were signs of escalating tension, jealousy, and unresolved conflicts. This was not a spontaneous act of self-defense. It was part of a larger chain of events that suggests planning and intent. Gasps echoed once again, and Melly's eyes darted nervously. Friends and family leaned forward, hanging on every word. Some looked horrified, while others whispered words of encouragement to him, trying to maintain hope. A new twist arrived when the defense attempted to discredit the surveillance footage that had emerged the previous day. "That video doesn't tell the full story," the defense attorney argued passionately. "It's selective, misleading, and taken out of context. My client did not act with intent. This is a misrepresentation of the facts." The courtroom buzzed with tension as the prosecution countered, insisting that the footage corroborated their claim that the wound was not defensive. The clash between the two sides grew increasingly heated, with emotions running higher than anyone could have predicted. Then, something unprecedented happened. A witness, previously unknown to both sides, requested to testify. The courtroom went silent as the judge considered the request. "Your Honor, I saw what happened that night," the witness said, voice trembling. "I didn't know who to tell, but now I can't stay silent." The testimony was explosive, offering a perspective that contradicted everything the prosecution and defense had presented so far. The audience gasped, and Melly's attorney leaned forward, eyes wide, realizing the implications. This unexpected revelation added another layer of complexity, throwing the entire trial into even greater uncertainty. Family members were left reeling. Melly's cousin, previously composed, now broke down completely. "I trusted people around him," she sobbed, "and I feel like everyone is hiding something. The family is divided, and I don't know who to believe anymore." Friends in the courtroom whispered words of comfort, but the tension remained thick. Social media mirrored the chaos, with fans commenting that the trial felt more like a dramatic reality show than a legal proceeding. Heated debates about loyalty, betrayal, and justice raged across platforms. By mid-afternoon, the prosecution presented another shocking revelation. They introduced medical records and forensic analysis that suggested previous altercations had been misrepresented, and that Melly had been involved in conflicts that were not public knowledge. These documents reveal a pattern of behavior that is inconsistent with innocence, the expert testified, projecting charts and images for the court to see. Murmurs and shocked expressions filled the room. Friends of Melly whispered to each other, some in disbelief, others in cautious support. The defense tried to push back, calling witnesses to vouch for Melly's character and claiming that the prosecution's narrative was exaggerated. But even as they spoke, a sense of unease pervaded the courtroom. Every piece of evidence presented by the prosecution seemed to add more tension, more suspicion, more drama. Family members exchanged anxious glances, unsure who to trust and who was telling the truth. Social media, meanwhile, continued to dissect every moment, turning the trial into a global spectacle. Then, in one of the most dramatic moments of the day, the judge allowed a private session with the jury to review certain pieces of evidence in detail. Reporters outside speculated endlessly about what this could mean. Fans tweeted that this was the turning point, that the truth about the wound and Melly's role was finally being scrutinized with precision. Heated debates raged across forums, with some claiming that Melly's innocence was being systematically dismantled, while others insisted that a miracle could still save him. As the day concluded, the courtroom remained in a state of suspended tension. The prosecution had delivered shocking testimony, unexpected witnesses had appeared, and the family was left divided and emotional. Melly sat quietly, absorbing everything, while the defense strategized their next move. Outside, fans were glued to their screens, desperate for updates and already predicting the twists that tomorrow might bring. The energy was electric, the suspense unbearable, and the story far from over. Everyone knew that the revelations from today would echo through the remainder of the trial. Social media continued to buzz, debates continued to rage, and fans everywhere were left wondering what new twist might emerge next. One thing was certain: The YNW Melly trial had turned into a drama filled with betrayal, shocking secrets, and high-stakes tension that had captivated the world. The wound that was supposedly defensive was now at the center of an unfolding narrative so unpredictable that no one could guess what would happen next. The courtroom was electric the following morning, as though everyone inside could feel that today would bring another earth-shattering twist. Cameras flashed incessantly, reporters jostled for position, and fans online were glued to live streams, their comments a mix of shock, anger, and disbelief. Social media hashtags like #MellyTrialExplosion and #NotDefensive were trending worldwide again, as fans debated every angle of the case. Some claimed Melly was being framed, while others insisted that the new evidence was too damning to ignore. Emotions ran high, and the tension inside the courtroom was palpable. The prosecution wasted no time, opening the day with a dramatic statement. "We have uncovered new testimony that casts serious doubt on the narrative that this was self-defense," the lead attorney declared, slamming documents onto the table for emphasis. Gasps echoed through the courtroom. Melly's defense attorney immediately stood, trying to maintain control. "Objection. These claims are speculative and unverified." The judge raised a hand, signaling for silence, and the room held its collective breath as she reviewed the documents. Fans watching live tweeted, calling the moment a bombshell and speculating that it could finally tip the scales. Then came the testimony that would send shockwaves through everyone present. A former associate of Melly, someone who had previously stayed out of the spotlight, took the stand. I didn't want to be involved," he began, voice shaking. "But I saw things that night that nobody knows about. People were talking. Plans were being made. And it wasn't just a misunderstanding. It was deliberate." The courtroom murmured. Family members exchanged worried glances, and Melly's attorney whispered fiercely in his ear, "Stay calm. Don't react." But the whispers only heightened the tension. Social media erupted instantly. Clips of the testimony went viral, and fans began dissecting every word. "This is insane," one fan tweeted. "I can't believe what I'm seeing. Melly might be in deeper trouble than we thought." Another posted, "This trial is turning into a full-blown thriller. I can't keep up with the twists." Arguments broke out online between supporters and critics, and hashtags began trending globally, dominating timelines with wild theories about betrayal, secrecy, and motive. The prosecution pressed on, bringing forward text messages, social media posts, and phone records. "We have evidence showing that conflicts had escalated over weeks prior to the incident," one attorney said. "There were messages that indicate tension, threats, and even premeditation." The courtroom gasped again. Melly shifted in his seat, his expression unreadable, while his attorneys tried to downplay the impact. But the damage was already done. Friends and family whispered frantically, some in disbelief, others in fear of what this could mean for the trial. Then came a startling twist. The victim's close friend was called to testify, someone who had previously been silent. "I didn't want to come forward," they admitted, voice trembling. "But I know things that could change the story, things that nobody else has said." The courtroom leaned in, sensing the gravity of the moment. The prosecution pressed, carefully extracting details that suggested deeper layers of conflict, hidden tensions, and betrayals that had been concealed from the public. Melly's defense attorney objected repeatedly, but the witness's testimony was too explosive to ignore. Emotions in the courtroom ran higher than ever. Melly's mother buried her face in her hands, sobbing quietly, while his cousin whispered to her, "We have to stay strong. Don't let this break us." Friends of Melly, who had flown in from different states, whispered words of support, but even they seemed shaken by the revelations. Fans watching live online commented that the drama was almost unbearable, calling the courtroom scenes like watching a soap opera unfold in real time. Heated debates erupted across forums, with some fans defending Melly fiercely and others insisting that the evidence painted a damning picture. The defense then attempted a counterattack, bringing in character witnesses who testified about Melly's peaceful nature and history of nonviolence. "I've known Melly for years," one friend said. "He's never been someone to hurt others intentionally." This isn't who he is. But even their statements seem to struggle against the tide of damning evidence and explosive testimony. Observers noted that the courtroom atmosphere felt increasingly like a powder keg, ready to ignite at any moment. Just when it seemed the day couldn't get any more intense, another twist emerged. Surveillance footage, previously reviewed but now analyzed frame by experts, revealed details that contradicted the defense's narrative. This footage confirms inconsistencies in the timeline, one analyst explained, pointing to a series of frames. It suggests movements and interactions that don't align with the defensive scenario. The courtroom collectively gasped, and Melly's attorneys leaned over, whispering urgent strategies. Fans online exploded in real-time commentary, speculating about whether this would finally change public perception. Adding to the chaos, a private investigator brought forward findings that suggested someone within Melly's inner circle may have withheld critical information. There were communications and behaviors that were concealed, the investigator testified. This could significantly impact how events are understood. The courtroom erupted with whispers and stunned looks. The family, already divided by conflicting loyalties and emotions, now faced the possibility that betrayal had played a role in the unfolding drama. Social media, naturally, went wild, with fans analyzing every possible angle and theorizing about who might have been involved. Then came a shocking revelation from a forensic expert. The wound, previously thought to be defensive, contained evidence that suggested a different trajectory entirely. Based on the angle and force applied, the expert explained, this wound aligns more closely with an offensive action than a defensive one. This challenges previous assumptions and changes the framework of the case. Gasps filled the room again, with some attendees whispering, this could be the evidence that changes everything. Melly's friends whispered to each other, clearly shaken, while fans online debated whether this was proof of guilt or another layer of misinterpretation. The defense tried to regain control by introducing counter-evidence, photos, statements, and witness testimonies that argued the wound could still be consistent with self-defense. This isn't as clear-cut as the prosecution wants you to believe, a defense attorney declared passionately. There are multiple interpretations of this evidence, and my client must be considered innocent until proven otherwise. But the courtroom energy was electric, with tensions so thick it was almost tangible. Family members whispered, some in support, some in skepticism, as the battle between prosecution and defense intensified. The day concluded with a moment of emotional chaos. Melly, visibly affected by the testimonies and evidence, whispered to his attorney, I can't believe how quickly everything is unraveling. The attorney, eyes intense, replied, stay composed. We still have strategies. Focus on what's next. Friends and family tried to offer comfort, but the storm of drama, betrayal, and tension had reached a fever pitch. Fans watching online were left glued to their screens, speculating nonstop about what the next day might reveal. As everyone filed out of the courtroom, social media continued to explode. Clips of testimony, forensic analyses, and dramatic moments were shared thousands of times within minutes. Fans debated the authenticity of the evidence, the reliability of witnesses, and the potential outcomes. Heated arguments broke out in comment sections, with some fans defending Melly vehemently while others insisted the trial had already revealed the truth. The story had grown beyond the courtroom. It was now a global conversation, a drama that captured attention worldwide, left everyone questioning everything they thought they knew. The wound, the surveillance footage, the secret communications, all pointed to a story far more complicated than a simple case of self-defense. Melly's fate remained uncertain, his family divided, and fans left on the edge of their seats. One thing was clear. The trial had become a high-stakes spectacle filled with betrayal, unexpected twists, and emotional conflicts that no one could have predicted. The courtroom buzzed with anticipation as the final day of testimony began. Everyone knew this would be a turning point in the trial. Reporters jostled for position, cameras flashed endlessly, and fans online were glued to every moment, live tweeting and sharing their theories at lightning speed. Hashtags like #MellyTrialTwist, #NotDefensive and #courtroomdrama were trending worldwide. The energy was almost tangible, as though the walls themselves were charged with tension. The prosecution opened with a statement that left the courtroom gasping. "We are presenting the final piece of evidence that demonstrates the wound was not defensive. This evidence changes everything," the attorney declared, slamming a folder down for dramatic effect. Melly's eyes flickered nervously toward his defense team, who were whispering strategies under their breath. Family members leaned in, some in disbelief, others trying to remain calm. Outside, fans speculated wildly about what the evidence could be, theories spreading like wildfire across social media. A new witness was called, someone who had previously been considered neutral, a neighbor who had remained silent for months. "I saw movements that night," they testified, voice trembling. "It wasn't a struggle in self-defense. There were deliberate actions and people were hiding things." Gasps echoed throughout the room. Melly shifted uncomfortably in his seat, while the judge paused, reviewing notes with a serious expression. The family whispered urgently to each other, tensions mounting as the narrative began to shift in ways no one had anticipated. The prosecution then presented forensic analysis that further challenged the defense's claims. The wound trajectory, depth, and angle indicate a non-defensive action, an expert explained, pointing to diagrams on the screen. This was not a reflexive injury, it was deliberate. The courtroom erupted in whispers. Friends of Melly exchanged tense glances, some muttering under their breath, others shaking their heads in disbelief. Fans online were ablaze, debating whether this would finally tip the scales. Heated arguments broke out across platforms, with some defending Melly fiercely and others convinced of his guilt. Melly's defense team tried to counter the momentum by introducing character witnesses who testified to his peaceful nature. "I've known Melly for years," one said, voice shaking but firm. "He's never been violent like that. He's misunderstood. This is not who he is." But the courtroom energy was relentless. The prosecution's evidence loomed large, and the tension was so thick that one could feel it pulsing in the air. Observers whispered that the trial had transformed from a legal proceeding into a full-blown dramatic spectacle. Then came an unexpected bombshell. A recording of a phone conversation emerged, allegedly between someone close to Melly and another individual discussing the events leading up to the incident. The audio was unclear but suggestive of premeditation and secrecy. "This shows planning," the prosecution declared. "It supports our claim that the wound was not defensive and that there were hidden agendas involved." Gasps filled the courtroom once more. Melly leaned back in his chair, his eyes wide, whispering something to his attorney. Fans online speculated endlessly, wondering if the recording would finally reveal the truth or simply add more confusion. Family members were visibly shaken. Melly's cousin, who had been one of his staunchest supporters, whispered urgently, "We have to believe in him. But what if the evidence is right?" His mother sat with her hands pressed to her face, unable to look up. Friends whispered words of encouragement, trying to keep spirits up, but the tension was undeniable. The trial had brought hidden conflicts, betrayals, and emotional scars to the surface, leaving the family divided and uncertain. The prosecution pushed forward with another expert witness, a specialist in criminal behavior. "We've analyzed communications, social media posts, and previous interactions," the expert explained. "Patterns suggest escalating conflicts, jealousy, and intentional actions that contradict self-defense." The courtroom erupted in murmurs. Melly's defense attorney objected multiple times, but the judge allowed the testimony, signaling that it could not be dismissed lightly. Fans online were transfixed, debating the significance of the statements in real time. Then, in a moment that felt ripped from a television drama, a surprise witness appeared. This individual had previously refused to testify, but now claimed to have new, critical information. "I can't stay silent anymore," they said, voice quivering. "There were actions and intentions that night that nobody is telling you." The courtroom was stunned. The prosecution leaned in eagerly, while the defense team's expressions hardened. Family members whispered frantically, trying to process the revelation. Fans online were already theorizing about the identity of the witness, and the implications of their testimony. The tension reached a fever pitch when another forensic expert presented a final analysis. After reviewing all available data, it is clear the wound cannot be classified as defensive, the expert declared. This challenges previous assumptions and significantly alters the understanding of the incident. Gasps and murmurs filled the room. Friends of Melly whispered urgently, while some family members appeared visibly shaken. Fans online expressed disbelief, some insisting the trial had finally exposed the truth, others claiming media manipulation. The drama was relentless, every detail dissected and debated. Then came the emotional climax. Melly, visibly affected by the revelations, addressed the court briefly through his attorney. "I want the truth to come out," the attorney read on his behalf. "I didn't act to harm anyone. I just want justice and for my side to be heard." The courtroom was silent, tension palpable as everyone processed his words. Some whispered in support, others exchanged skeptical glances. Social media exploded with reactions, some fans expressing empathy, others questioning the credibility of his statement. The prosecution delivered one final twist before closing their arguments. They highlighted inconsistencies in prior witness testimonies, reinforced the non-defensive nature of the wound, and emphasized the hidden conflicts surrounding the incident. "This is not a simple case," the attorney said. "The evidence points to deliberate actions, and we urge the jury to consider every fact carefully." Gasps echoed, and the family's expressions ranged from stunned silence to whispered concern. Fans online debated endlessly, each clip and soundbite dissected for hidden meaning. The defense, undeterred, presented a closing argument emphasizing character, context, and the ambiguity of evidence. "The prosecution wants you to believe in a narrative built on assumptions," the attorney said passionately. "But the truth is complicated. Melly deserves a fair chance, and you must consider all possibilities before reaching judgment." The courtroom tension was almost unbearable. Family members whispered nervously, supporters held their breaths, and fans online were glued to screens, debating who had the stronger argument. As the day ended, the judge gave final instructions to the jury, reminding them to consider all evidence carefully and to remain impartial. Melly left the courtroom quietly, flanked by his attorneys, while family members lingered, still processing the revelations. Outside, fans and journalists swarmed, capturing every moment, speculating endlessly, and posting updates that would trend worldwide. The social media storm was relentless, filled with hashtags, debates, and theories about the next chapter in this high-stakes drama. By the conclusion of the day, one thing was clear: the trial had become a global spectacle. Every witness, piece of evidence, and testimony had added layers of tension, betrayal, and drama. The wound, once thought to be defensive, had become the centerpiece of a story filled with intrigue, conflict, and high emotions. Fans were divided, family was fractured, and the courtroom had become a stage for one of the most sensationalized trials in recent memory. The story was far from over, and everyone knew that the next day, or the next revelation, could change everything once again. The trial had revealed more than just the events of that night. It had exposed hidden conflicts, personal betrayals, and emotional turmoil that extended beyond the courtroom. Friends whispered, family fretted, and fans speculated, while Melly remained at the center, his fate hanging in the balance. Social media continued to amplify every detail, turning the trial into a worldwide conversation. Each revelation seemed to deepen the mystery, leaving everyone questioning who could be trusted, what really happened, and whether justice would ever be served. The YNW Melly trial has shaken fans, friends, and family to the core, and after all the twists, revelations, and shocking testimonies, one thing is certain: this story is far from over. The wound that was once assumed to be defensive has now become the center of controversy, leaving everyone questioning the narrative they thought they knew. Emotions have run high, alliances have fractured, and secrets once buried are now in the spotlight. Every testimony, every piece of evidence, and every shocking twist has added layers of complexity that no one could have predicted. Fans are shocked, social media is on fire, and the world is watching every moment unfold. The family remains divided, friends are torn between loyalty and doubt, and Melly himself is at the center of a storm that seems to grow stronger with each revelation.
What really happened that night?
Was it a tragic accident, a misunderstanding, or something more deliberate? These questions remain unanswered, and the suspense is unbearable. Now, it's your turn to weigh in. What do you think about the new evidence? Do you believe the wound was truly non-defensive, or is there more to this story than meets the eye? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We want to hear your theories, reactions, and predictions. Don't forget to hit that like button if you've been following this drama, and subscribe to stay updated on every shocking development. Share this video with friends so they can join the conversation, because this trial isn't just news, it's a global drama, and the next revelation could happen at any moment. Stay tuned, stay alert, and keep your eyes on the YNW Melly trial, because you won't want to miss a single second of the chaos, betrayal, and jaw-dropping twists that are still unfolding.